Okay guys, so you can see I just tried to take that trade there on gold and we got stopped out at break even, but I do see the same opportunity again. So we're going to take it for another time. So we can see there we've got an entry at 4583.26, 4583.26. We're going to set a stop loss just tucked underneath there at 4581.11. So we're going to put a stop loss at 4581.11. Just going to modify that in there. Now, the reason we are taking this trade, we are going to see we've got on the right side, we have the 5-minute time frame, and on the left side, we've got the 1-minute time frame on gold. Now, on the 5-minute, we can draw in there from the low to the high. We are in a bit of a fib region, just tapping there off the 78.6 area, and we could potentially now start to edge higher, back up to 4593, and then even to 4,600. So I'm just going to remove that for now. Now you can see there on the 5-minute time frame, we've got an oversold stochastic. It's just starting to push up. The MACD's slowing down there on the histogram, and we could be seeing a cross soon, and the RSI is pretty low there. Now, something to bear in mind on the RSI is we have got hidden divergence there as the market pushes up that way. As you can see on the RSI, it is different. That is a bullish signal that this could whipsaw and push to the upside. So we could see a bit more momentum here. Price is already starting to push up a little bit from entry now. We're already up 160 pips at the minute. But this should break through this level and push back in to the 4588 mark. Now, something I will do, considering price is where it is I'm going to move this now to break even and make it a risk-free trade. So as you can see there, 4583.26. So now what that means is if this comes back to entry now, it's going to get me out the same as that previous did, and then I'm not essentially going to lose anything. So price now, it's just having a little bit of a resistance area. You can see there, there's a little bit of something, but now what should happen is price should either break through, or it's going to come back down and tap me out for break even. But again, the reasons for taking this trade: 5-minute, we're in a fib. We've got the 5-minute hidden divergence. You can see there, we're swapping over on the MACD, pushing up on the stochastic, and the same for the 1-minute. We've still got more pushing to do on the stochastic. We're only just swapping over there on the MACD, and the RSI is slowly pushing up. So now this is just a game of waiting to see what happens next. So I might even put a little bit of a time lapse on so we can watch this play out. But we are looking to target these areas up here in the 5-8. But depending on how this plays out, it doesn't matter, because like I say, this is a risk-free trade. So just want to see us get a little bit higher. But what we can do is we can go to chart, we can get our stop loss, and we can actually drag it up into profit. So we can put that there now at 108. And now we are locked in £108 profit. So if this does happen to pull back down a little bit, we can get out of the trades. And as this starts to move up slowly, you can find yourself taking the stop loss with it and just modifying those positions just to make sure we're locking in those gains. So then if the market does come back down to break even, we're not just going to lose everything. You don't want to get out too early on some of these things, because then you're just leaving profit on the table. So we're just trailing behind, making sure that we get as much out of this trade as we possibly can. You can see now 1-minute stochastic starting to be a little bit overbought. So we could see that pull back on a 1-minute, because the 1-minute's going to have to pull back and continue in order to get that 5-minute push. That's something to note when working with the 1 and the 5-minute time frames. And there you can see now we've just been tapped out of that. So if we go back to history, you can see originally we tried to get that trade, but we got tapped out of break even, but we managed to get it there on the second time. Now look how price is starting to pull back, and we could potentially be losing all those gains and all that money we've left on the table. But like I mentioned, the 1-minute has to pull back and continue in order to get that 5-minute push. So that's just something to bear in mind as well. So these are essentially the types of trades we're looking for when we are going at gold. Now, I do like to use the high candlesticks. If we have a big zoom out now and just have a look at daily time, this is just to show you as well what is possible. Notice there how fast we made that £160, where we only had to sit at the chart for a little bit of time, find a good trade opportunity, and you've almost made a UK day's wage in one trade. Now you can take multiple of these throughout the day. You can set things for yourself like rule systems. I'm only going to take so many of them. I'm only going to take 3 scalps a day. I'm only going to take 1, because that's all you need. If you take 1 good confident scalp every single day, that is all you need. Now if we have a little look at the daily time frame, if I swap that back to Japanese candlesticks now, we're going to just have a little debrief on where this could go next. So if we zoom out on the daily, the first thing we're going to see is we're going to draw that Fibonacci there from the low to the high. So we're going to grab the low, we're going to move it up and put that in. Now we are approaching very closely to TP1. So the negative 27 is always the first take profit. The second is always that negative 61.8. So those are the potential things we're going to see next on gold. So we're either going to see gold next at the price level up here, a little bit higher, at 4,650. Or we're going to see it 4,791, pretty much getting us close to that $4,800 per Oz mark. Now, another thing that could be next, because we're always going to map out every direction, so we could see 4,650, we could see 4,780, 4,800, we could see 4,800, if I make that a bit cleaner. Something else is we have broken that high. Now, I'm not saying we could get a little bit more of a push out of it, but if we don't, we're just going to simply draw another Fibonacci, and the next place we could see gold come back down to are these levels down here, back in another fib zone to potentially go higher. So something for you guys now to just be aware of as you're trading and as you're scalping, that on the higher time frame, on the daily time frame, we could be seeing one of these 3 levels next. Something else for you guys to also note as well is, if I drag that over, the investing.com economic calendar. So every single time before you come and start trading, you always need to make sure you check the coming out news. As you can see there at London time, 1:30, we've got some big news events coming out for the dollar. 3-star news impact. That means if you're trading on the 1 and the 5 minute time frame, like I've just shown, and we've taken that trade, you're going to really be impacted by some of these news events if they come out not as expected. So it's always wise to check, especially due to just trading conditions, because as we lead up to some of these coming out, the month on month and the year on year CPI, you'll notice gold and other things that are going to be affected by this, because this is the dollar, start to slow down and consolidate. Because as you know, gold, if the dollar goes down, gold goes up. Gold goes down, the dollar goes up, because they're usually inversely correlated, because gold is a safe haven, especially when you got more geopolitical tensions. So that is just something to bear in mind. So again, just that little roundup on gold. Next, when you're trading these lower time frames, the 1 and the 5 minute, you just want to be mindful that the next areas we could be heading to is 4,650, 4,800, or 4,404. And then if we do get that really deep drop down, we're going to come back there into 4,321. So these are just the areas for you to note as you are scalping gold over the rest of this week and going into next week. And guys, if all this is new and a little bit confusing to you, check the description. There is a link at the top which takes you to a free video on YouTube where I take beginners with no knowledge to just understanding the foreign exchange market to be able to take the same trades that I took today. So guys, subscribe to the channel and make sure you stay up to date with the new videos that I'm going to drop on different pairs and educational. So I'll see you there. Thank you.